Should you mix species in your worm bin? I don't think it matters, and I'll tell you why on today's short episode of Coffee and Compost. My name is Steve Churchill, and this is the Earthworm Company. I get asked this question all the time. People want to know if there's either any harm or benefit in mixing two worm species in their worm bins. On the benefit side, the thinking here is that multiple worm species will provide a more diverse vermicomposting habitat than having one species. Also, because some worms, like the European nightcrawler, might tend to occupy deeper areas of a worm bin, and I'm not even sure that's true, you can get different species of worms working the vermicompost at different depths. Some people actually worry that they may be doing harm in mixing two species. There's often a worry that worms from two different species may be competitive or even predatory towards those in another tribe. Some people even worry that the worms will begin fighting each other, which is maybe a little understandable, but also kind of ridiculous to think of rival worm gangs brawling like a scene out of Anchorman. So what's my take? There's no harm to your worms or your worm bin if you mix two vermicomposting species together. The worms will get along just fine. And there might be a small, even if insignificant, increase in the biological diversity in the bin. But I wouldn't recommend it for two reasons. One, your bin will likely have slower reproduction if you start it with less than about a pound of worms per square foot. Except in rare cases, worms don't breed with worms of other species. So let's say you decided against starting with a full pound per square foot of red wigglers, and instead you started with a half pound of red wigglers, which is about 500 worms, and a half pound of African night crawlers, which is about 100 to 150 worms. Then both species will likely be below the optimal density for breeding with one another in that bin. Now, I failed high school algebra, so math like that makes my head hurt, but I'm not done with the math just yet. Buying two species of worms, let's say a pound each, is going to be more expensive than buying 2 pounds of a single species. This is especially true if they drop ship from other suppliers, and many online sellers do just that. But if you look at the price of 2 pounds versus the price of two separate 1 pound orders, there will almost always be a 10 to 20% price break to buy the 2 pounds of a single species. So there's no harm in mixing species in your bin. It's just more expensive and you might get slower reproduction. And any increase in diversity you get just isn't worth the added expense in my book. Gang, I've been doing vermicomposting now for a little over 10 years and I've made every mistake in the book. I get a lot of emails from new vermicomposters who are struggling with the same things I did. And I noticed most people made one or more of 6 different mistakes. So I created a short, easy to read guide showing you how to steer clear of all of them. You should see a link on your screen right about now. Go ahead and click it to sign up for our email list and you can get that guide immediately. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you on the next video.